welcome to another El Cachorro film review video. We're a little late on this one. I was late seeing the movie to begin with, but I saw it like a week ago now, and it is the Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves. And I gotta say, this is a very good movie. I really liked it. Had a good time with it. I am not a big D&D guy. I know what D&D is. I respect D&D. It's something I thought would be kind of cool to try at some point, but I've never had that opportunity. But, you know, it's always something that sounds like it could be kind of fun to do something like one of those tabletop kind of things like that. So I have to go by better worth from other people. I know a couple people that are in the D&D, and they've told me that this movie is very good and respects the lore a lot. There's lots of tidbits and Easter eggs and things they drop, place names they drop like Baldur's Gate, and different character types and traps and stuff from the game, from the actual tabletop game. So they were very pleased with it. But as a movie on a whole, it's an action comedy. I think the comedy's dead on. I think the action's pretty good. The effects are pretty good. Had a good time with this movie. We'll do the rating real quick. Between a 7.5 and an 8. I think I'll go ahead and give it the 8. I'll rank it up there a little bit because it was a good fun time, and I enjoyed it. So let's talk about it a little bit more. So the cast is very well done. We have Chris Pine playing Edgin, our Harper slash thief slash lute player. Lute, what is it? Lute, some kind of instrument player. Bear, what's that? Lute. There it is. It was a lute. His performance is really good. He's Chris Pine. He's always a charismatic, entertaining performance. We have Michelle Rodriguez playing Helga. She's kind of the barbarian. Very Michelle Rodriguez kind of performance. You like Michelle Rodriguez, it's fine. It's just typical Michelle Rodriguez. We have Justice Smith playing our sorceress mage character Simon. Pretty good. Had no problem with his character either. Sophia Little plays Doric, our whatever the hell she's supposed to be, shape-shifting thing. She can turn into animals and stuff. We have a paladin that is in a little bit of the film. His name is Zenik, I believe. Let me make sure I'm reading that right. Yeah, Zenik, played by Regé-Jean Page. I think he does that character perfectly, especially from what I've heard about the Indian paladins. Our bad guys are Hugh Grant playing the character Forge. His performance was super well done as well. Evil sorceress Sophina, played by Daisy Head. Not too many talking lines, but she's got the evil sorceress Paprio. And then there's the child, Chris Pine's child character Kira, played by Chloe Coleman, and typical kid performance. All right. So no big deal, but overall, I thought the cast done a very good job. Action was super good. Comedy, we'll talk about some of that here, and it's been pretty good too. So let's start with our movie. So we start, and they're bringing like this orc kind of thing to a secured prison. So we're seeing how secure this prison is, and they put him in a cell with Chris Pine and Michelle Rodriguez. And it's like, oh, I'm with a woman. So he starts coming on to like he's gonna have a good time with Michelle Rodriguez, and then she pretty much kicks his ass. So pretty much establishing she's the badass. So they go in front of the panel of judges about trying to get a pardon, and supposedly their big thing is there's a specific judge or person like they want there named Jonathan, making it kind of sound like they have some kind of connection with him and he's going to stand up for him. Well, he's not there when they go do it, so Chris Pine does this whole little backstory, and as he's trying to like delay for Jonathan to get there, and he keeps making the joke, is Jonathan, you sure he's not coming? You sure he can't be? We can't wait for him. They might have played, edged that joke out a little bit too long, but hey, it still works. So we pretty much find out he started off as a harper, taking down bad guys, but didn't make any money. So him and his wife were living poor, and then they had a baby, and then they pretend the bad guys found out where he lives, came while he was away, and killed his wife, or had her pretty much dying. Well, he came back and found her dying, but she hid the baby in the wall. So now he's a loser father, down on his luck, drinking all the time until he meets Michelle Rodriguez's character, who helps him start raising his kid. And then they start, because she's an outcast from her people as well. So then they become a thief. They start with thieving, stealing gold and stuff, but they don't hurt anybody. And they start building. They have like a little team they built together doing missions, thief stuff. With a magician who's decent but not good, and another character named Forge. Well, then a sorceress kind of person comes and wants them to pull this big heist. They're kind of iffy because it's a huge, like a Harper treasure stash place, and he doesn't want to do it. But then he's convinced because they have a relic of resurrection that he could use to bring back a dead person. So his goal is to steal that, bring his wife back because he misses his wife, mostly that. But besides that, he wants to give his daughter her mother back, so she never got to see. So he agrees to it. The plan goes wary because there's a trap that he kind of himself unleashed because there was like a little string tied to the relic when he picked it up and pulled it away. The sorceress kind of does a spell that captures him and Michelle Rodriguez while everyone else escapes, and he tells the Forge guy, hey, take care of my daughter and stuff like that. So then we go to the prison scene, back to the prison stuff, and Jonathan shows up, and he's like this bird creature kind of thing. And Michelle Rodriguez starts knocking out the guards. They both grab Jonathan, push him out a window. The whole plan, they wanted Jonathan there, was they could do this plan, drop him out the window, holding on to him tight. He obviously with wings will fly, and they'll use that as his way to escape. Turns out also they're just like, we were going to grant you your pardon, but now they're escapees anyway, so they're still wanted. So then they go looking for Forge and the daughter. Obviously, they're not in the home. And they need to find out that Forge is now the top mayor kind of person of the kingdom. So they go there to meet him, and he's got his picture all over the place that he's great and all this stuff like that. And he's bringing back some type of game that we'll find out more about later that the people really want. And he's got all these people coming in, bringing all this. And there's going to be some betting on it and stuff. So he sees his daughter and obviously, and then they go meet with Hugh Grant's Forge character, to which we find out that it was a trick all along. They were planning on them getting captured, and that Forge and the sorceress were on an evil plan together. And now he's taken over as the father of his daughter, and that he's keeping her for himself, and that he's played her against them, saying that that Pine's character was only after a tablet of riches, and so he captures them. His goal is to have them sent back to prison because they're wanted for escaping, and he leaves them to the sorceress, who just says, "Hey, go take him somewhere and kill him." And then he tells the daughter that we gave him the tablet of riches, and he left and doesn't want nothing to do with you, so he's keeping this whole bad image of her father. Well, so the soldiers take them to this alley, and they're going to chop their heads off, and leads to like breaking out. Michelle Rodriguez is being the barbarian. She's taking everybody out, while Pine's character is slowly cutting his ropes to free himself. Then he comes out and he takes out like the very last guy. That's his support. So then they escape the city, knowing that they need to come up with a plan to save the daughter and get like that. So they want to put together a team, break in, get the tablet of resurrection, get his daughter, and then get some gold and stuff like that, because obviously that's to get people on the team. They got to say, hey, so his goal is, hey, there's a lot of gold, we can steal all this gold and get the people on board. So first off, they go and they have to decide that the only sorceress they can get is their old sorceress. So they find him in a church doing crappy magic tricks, but he's using his real magic to try and pickpocket everybody and steal their gold. And then they discover him. Leads to like a little scene there where he's doing some bad magic in his attempt to escape. So that gets them out, and then they know they need whatever the transforming thing is. Well, I can't remember the name of the type of character it is. I'm sorry, D&D people. He knows one because he quartered one, so they go to find her. The sorceress quartered one, but it didn't go well. She didn't want anything to do with him. So they go into the forest, and they find she's like disguised as a horse, and she turns into an owlbear to help free one of the forest people. that was about to be executed. So they follow her back to to the home of the forest people, and trying to get the joint side because she don't trust humans at all. But they get her to join side because their goal is to take down the forge guy who's destroying their land and trying to kill and destroy all the forest people. And then she stands up for the forest people. So the first part of the mission is they use her to turn into like a fly and fly in there to see how they're storing all the treasure, how the treasure is being protected. And they find that there's this magic vault thing with a magic door lock on it. But then the sorceress detects she's there, and there's this whole little thing where they're trying to kill her while she's transforming from like fly to cat, the mouse, the deer, and it's a nice little action sequence there. To escape, and they have to figure out how to break so they're trying to figure out a way to get to the magic, and then they find that there's some magical helm they can get that the sorceress can attune with and break through the lock. He doesn't believe in himself, but they say let's go with it. We'll try it out and see what happens. So they're going and trying to figure out where this helm is. And supposedly last we know it was with Olga's people. They were the ones that were in the last battle with it. So on the way to get there, they go to the home where she was with so she was kicked out of her people because she fell in love with someone from a different species, a different race or whatever. And it'd be like a little hobbit tiny character. But since she missed being kicked out of her people, he ended up dumping her as well. So now he's has a new love, and tells her to get her, offers her stuff. And there's a walking stick that she got him, and she says you can have it and take it with you. And she gets her stuff. And her goal is to show him how good she is by taking down Forge and all that stuff. So they go to a grave site where all of her people from that battle are buried. And there's this magic spell where they can bring someone back to life to ask them 5 questions before they die permanently. So we get a nice little comedy scene here where sometimes they start like, so how long has this worked? Oh, that's like, I'm not asking you. That's not a question, is it? Yes, it is. Because they're bouncing back and forth with people, and then sometimes they're waking up the wrong person who really doesn't remember everything. And before they finally found out that the helm was given to some paladin of a certain race that was part of the race that tags up with the red witches, the red sorcerers that killed Edgin's wife. But supposedly everybody says this guy's different. Everybody's rumors of this guy. So they go out to meet him, and so this is a paladin. He left his warrior people because he didn't believe with the way they were going, but he's this perfect person, helping the poor, knowing other stuff. And from my understanding, what I've heard from D&D is paladins are the most perfect people and most powerful, and everybody hates paladins. So they do play that joke off a little bit, how he's perfect and he's kind of disliked by everybody because how perfect by our group, by Edgin and stuff, because of how perfect he is. So he agrees to help him with the fact that he's saying that you got to become do good. And he believes he's going to turn back to his Harper ways, and he has to agree to give the gold to the people. He's like, yeah, I'll swear on that because, hey, I don't care about lying. He goes, I know, and the paladins, I know you don't believe what you're saying, but you will. So he takes him on this mission to the underworld, where we run into some cool creatures. There's like these brain things that like only attack high intelligent people. So they stay really still and they just walk right by them. So that's another funny joke there. So we're like, wow, that's insulting. They didn't attack us. Then we get to this bridge where you got to step in these magic spots, like 3 steps forward, 2 steps right, 3 steps, 2 steps, 1 step. It's like going through this complex path to get across the bridge. Sounds very D&D. The sorceress accidentally steps on the edge of the bridge, causing the whole thing to collapse. So nice, cool moment to get away from that. And then Holga drops everything out of her bag, including the walking stick. And turns out the walking stick is actually a magical staff of teleportation. Yeah, that's a little bit of a plot convenience MacGuffin there. Okay, but I'll forgive it because it's, it fits the movie, to be honest. So they use that to get across and get the helm, to which they're attacked by some supernatural bad guys that belong to the Paladins race. They were sent by the sorceress to stop these guys and kill them. So the Paladin goes one-on-1, one on like 5. So he says, stand back, I'll take care of this. And he's like, does this awesome battle scene where he takes them all down. So showing he's, playing off the whole paladins is super badass, but they're dead, so they're resurrected dead, so they start coming back to life. So it leads to them saying, well, we can't beat them, then we have to run. So while they're trying to run for escape, here we get a dragon, but not a normal dragon, a fat pudgy dragon. So we get this nice comedy action scene where they're all running, trying to escape from this fat pudgy dragon. As he's picking off, obviously he picks off all the bad guys. Traps our heroes, and then our heroes end up escaping, finding a way to escape. So then Simon's trying to turn to the helmet. It rejects him. So, and everybody finds out that was a possibility. So they all turn on Edgin because they thought, because they trusted him and he already knew that the plan had a good chance to fail. So now everyone's down on it. And it's some of this stuff might be a little tropey for these kind of movies. So all the quest is over. The quest is going to bound to fail. He does a speech on how he sets his plans and he believes in his plans because he knows he's a failure. He's a failure as a father. Then we find out the true story on why he was attacked, why they killed his wife, is when he was capturing a red sorceress, he stole one of their treasures, not knowing that they magically marked their treasures so they can track them, and they tracked it back to his home where his wife was. They come back and get it, and he wasn't even there for it. So him trying to better himself caused his wife's death. So we find out, he's a flawed character and everything like that. And then the people, they decided they'll band together and come up with a plan for him, with him. So what they end up deciding is the easiest way in is to not steal treasure on the way, but to hide treasure in it. So they find a way to take this picture. They put the portal on the picture frame, and then put a picture over top of it. First of all, they use the portal to sneak into a wagon carrying treasure, to which then our shape-shifting person puts a portal on the painting. So they put the portal on a painting frame, and then cover it with a picture, and put it with the treasure, and then she escapes out. And they put the painting in with the treasure at the vault of the castle. So they have the plans where they are going to open the other side of the portal and climb into the vault. Well, when they put the painting in, it falls over flat on its face, so now it's facing against the ground, so they can't get through. So they have to come up. So the Doric feels if she can chip away enough of a spot, she can turn into a worm and crawl through. Meanwhile, other characters come up with a plan to try and sneak into the castle, which leads to another great comical scene where the sorcerer creates a holograph of Edgin playing the lute to distract some guards, but then the sorcerer gets his foot stuck and he can't keep the thing going, and it's start glitching and then disforming and everything, and they're freaking the guards out, and then sees them and starts chasing them, and so then we get. And then whether they saw him go into the room before, so they're trying to get into the room where the shapeshifter is chipping away. So she gets a hole. She's able to turn to the worm to crawl through, and she turns around. I think she turns the worm closer, picks up the portal, then is able to reach across and pull a tablecloth over it so that everyone can see it. So it looks like the room is empty. So I can't remember exactly what happened. So she does something like that. But it turns out that's not the vault. It's underneath the castle, and they're loading the treasure on a boat. She gets knocked out by a guard. Our other Holga and Simon. Simon finally attunes to the helmet at the last second because the belief is, hey, you don't believe in yourself, but when your life's on the line, you come through. So he's in danger. So he's finally able to gives him the strength and the confidence to overcome himself, and that's all it really was when he wasn't attuning. So they're able to open the vault, and Helmet and Holga go in. There's nothing there. It's a magical trap. They get caught by some tentacles. Chris Pine, meanwhile, finds his daughter. He's trying to gives her this big old speech on how big of a failure it was and how he just wanted to bring his wife back for himself and all this stuff, but that was really his plan. And it turns out it's the evil sorceress in disguise as his daughter, and use the tentacle thing to snatch him up. And the goal is just to straight kill him, but then they say, give us a chance, at least put us in the game so we have a fighting chance. And because we know there's some new other secret plan at foot here. Also, well, the paladin, I forgot to mention the paladin helped him with the quest and he went his own way. So he even kind of warned that there's something, the evil plan could be afoot. So there's so evil plan. So the sorcerer says, no, put them in the games. Yeah, let's put them in the games because she wants all the people together. Meanwhile, Hugh Grant's character's just goal was to steal all the gold and take the daughter, his daughter, because he's become fond of the daughter, and jump on a boat and take off and leave everybody behind. So they put them in these like games where you got groups of people, so it kind of feels like a Dungeons and Dragons kind of thing because you got these different groups of characters together as a team trying to find their way through this maze to escape some beast thing that's hunting them, and their goal is to get into the cage to survive that round, and then they start over with a new round. And then you have these things like these mechanicisms that create a maze because these things come out of the ground, and after so long, like the outside layer will always drop down to make it easier for the beast to find them. It's like the beast is like some panther thing with these two like Venus flytrap kind of tentacles that can create a holograph of itself. So it's picking people off, and they have no weapons, but there's chests scattered throughout, and some of the chests have weapons. And then you also get the evil monster chest thing that can attack. So famous from a lot of these kind of games, stuff like that, is the trick chest that's actually a monster. So it's picking off people, and then our characters all find it get to the end of the maze where there's a cage you can get in to survive, where there's actually some other people in it, but then they realize like, no, wait. All this is going to do is bring us to the next round where we got to survive another creature. So they got to figure out another way of winning. So they have to figure something else out. Earlier in the maze, we found there's this, and I heard this is from D&D as well. There's this like Jello like goose that that freezes you. You get in, you fall inside of it, freezes you, and it digests you and kills you. It slowly digests you. So they get to the outside of the maze and stuff like that, and they're waiting. And the Doric has got a plan. So they have one of these Jello oozes, and she goes, "Just wait for the bell to hit, and we're gonna all jump in." I was like, "I promise, I will get us out." And then the beast kind of thing sees him and he's coming at him. And the bell rings, they all jump in. And she makes sure she jumps in enough where her finger pokes through the other side. And then the beast barely misses them. The bell's toll, and that the row that they're in with the gel cap they're in lowers into the ground because it's taking away that part of the maze. So what the chick does is she turns herself into a snake, and she's able to slide out the hole she created by sticking her finger out, and then she reaches in and pulls everybody else out before they melt, pretty much. So now they're in the underground part of the maze, so they're out of the maze, but they got to get moving because the next layer is going to come down on them. So now they're underneath the castle, and back where Doric was before, and they see where the ship's being like loaded up with gold. And so they pretty much hijacked the ship, and they're waiting on the ship for Forge to come down with the daughter, and he finds out, hey, we saw your plan, you're stealing the gold yourself. So he turns, he's going to like kill the daughter unless they give him the gold. And then Holga uses, I think it was a potato, to smack him in the head with a potato and causes him to let go of the daughter, and they jump on the boat and they start taking off with all the gold. So they're all good and they're going away. Then we see the sorcerer's plan is she's got everybody together because they did the break-in, so she get this special magical item that calls down some plague thing from the sky that will possess all the people in this area and turn them into a zombie army, pretty much. And this is the paladin warned this because the paladin was there last time it happened. He was one of the few survivors of it. So our heroes see this and they decide, well, they can't do it. The goodness of they have to go back and stop this from happening. So they turn the boat around and go back to stop her. So obviously, what the big plan is, they got to get everybody out of the stadium before because she needs everybody together for this plan to work. So they put a teleporter on a hot air balloon and on the boat, and they start dropping all the gold in the portal, so it's falling from the balloon, and the people see it and they think it's the Forge's gift that Forge sees, like, oh, stay till the end of the games because there's a special gift everybody's going to get. It's them being turned into zombies was the plan, but everybody sees the gold falling and like, oh, that's the plan. So they all go running out of the stadium and chase the gold and ruin the sorcerer's plan because now there's no one there for her to turn into a zombie army. Our heroes then also decide that they have to take out the sorcerer, so they're going to confront her. Forge, meantime, is... Did it show he got caught? I'm not even sure how. So, well, he finds it because he was going to go after their boat, but then he sees the boat comes back and he finds all this gold spawn and he's able to, like, grab one last piece. So we get this great big fight with the sorceress, and it's really well done because like she's defending herself against all of them. We're getting magic attacks. We're getting all these attacks. So it's this really cool fight scene. It's really well done. Super. So I really, really liked it. And we let on where he told his daughter, because her daughter has this thing that she can wear that makes her turn invisible. And he's telling her to hide. Well, she does her thing that she did the capture from the first time, where she does this like bubble of stopping time that freezes them in place, except for her. So she does it, and everybody's frozen. So she's going up to Chris Pine's character, getting ready to kill him, and she's giving this talk, and I was like, "Oh, you ruined my plan. I'm going to do this." And then all of a sudden he's like, "Oh my God, your breath is so hideous," showing that he can move, freaking her out a little bit. And supposedly, as Simon countered the spell, and the little girl popped a magic. Something that they had on that was on some of the other characters earlier that blocks them from doing magic. So cancels out her magic, and then the one chick turns into an owlbear, and a great kill scene where she just takes down the sorceress and she beats her to the ground a little bit. Like, all right, I think she's dead, and then she moves a little bit, so she pounds her a little bit, and then throws her against the wall, and and then the wall clumps on her to kill her and stuff like that. So. Very good kill scene there. So our characters are now heroes. Forge's character gets arrested. They find out that there was a spell placed on the old leader, so he wakes up and he pardons all our heroes for saving the city, and so they're all happy. Oh, I forgot to mention at this part. Oh, there's the best part. So in the battle with the sorcerer, Michelle Rodriguez's Holga gets stabbed with a red sorcerer's blade, which is, we found out, because that's what happened to his wife, that there's nothing that can be done to save you from that. It's a death. It's death. There's no surviving it. So she dies, and the daughter's crying, and Chris Pine has this moment where he just remembers all the scenes, his flashback scenes of his daughter with Holga, and that Holga's been really the mother to his daughter and everything like that. And the paladin even says, like, yeah, you can bring your wife back, but when you die, you start a new life somewhere else. Like, you'll be ripping her away from that life. So he has this view of all the scenes with his daughter and Holga, and then he sees his wife. And there's a scene that, remember, we saw earlier today with a dragonfly where he's trying to catch it, and it's like she just opens the window and is like, just let it go. So it goes back to that moment. It shows pretty much her saying, let me go. So he uses the Tablet of Resurrection to bring Holga back to life. And, pretty much giving up on it, bringing his wife back. So pretty much I'm letting go and moving on. So they brings her back to life. So then so that group's all together. So those three, the other two decide to start their dating life again. Happy ending. We get back to the prison. Go back to that same prison where they're. Now it's huge. Grant's Forge is trying to do this plea to get pardoned. He's trying to do the little backstories thing as well, and it's not working. And then I think Jonathan comes in again, and he grabs Jonathan, and he's going to try the same plan of pushing him out the window. But now the window's been walled up, so it doesn't work. And so that's the movie. So, like I said, this is a really good, fun movie. It's a great movie for if you don't know D&D. You're gonna have a good time watching it. Uh, like I said, from what I've known from some D&D fans I know, they've said they really liked the movie and that it did a great job of sticking to lore, using a lot of Easter eggs, dropping tidbits for them that they would all know. And there's a hope of this could building this could take off and we get more. So this could lead to more. I think there's always talks of a TV show in production. So hopefully give people some more of that fantasy world. Super happy with this movie. I thought it was a great time. As I said, I got bombarded with a bunch of movies, and there's some things I had to let slide through. Didn't see Avatar, and didn't get around to seeing Shazam. I'll just wait and see that when it hits HBO Max, and then maybe do a review. Didn't see this last John Wick movie. I might have to wait on. I might have to give up on that one. I do hope to see Mario still, and so I'll put a video for that up. I might try and still squeeze in Renfield and get a review for that going. And then we have Guardians of the Galaxy around the corner as we get into the summer movie months. You've already done an Evil Dead Rise one. That's going to be on the channel as well. So if you haven't seen that yet, check that out. But it was a very, very busy March here. So we got hit by quite a few movies. They had Ant-Man, which I've already covered. Cocaine Bear I've already covered. 65 I've already covered. But I had to let a few guys go because I just didn't get the chance to go see them. Unfortunately. So we had Mando season 3 already up in review. I might go back and do one for Last of Us. I haven't, ever finished that one up either. But this movie's totally worth it. So hopefully we're on a good movie kick here. So not really hated much of anything. I mean, some things I thought were okay, and so not been really too disappointed by anything of yet. So it's been so far a pretty good summer, or good year, I guess, spring. But until next time, folks, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, support me. As you know, YouTube don't pay me, but hey, I appreciate any love I get. Next time, Cachorro out.